This segment is being brought to you by Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Join us in preserving and protecting Tennessee's wildlife.
Thanks for coming back to Southern Woods and Water, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this right here, but I wanted to say this. If anybody wants to place any phone calls about any of this information or talk to anybody here about Kentucky Lake, Del Hall Lake, or anything, call us at 737-7767. We would really appreciate the phone calls. Anybody out there want to call in, we're taking calls right now. And we're going to talk a little bit about some more on these crappie flies here. I'm so intrigued by these crappie flies because they've just exploded for us. They just really exploded for us. So, Craig, how long have you known about these crappie?
I think Mom and Dad.
Hold on 1 minute there, 1 second. We've got a phone call right here. Hang on 1 second. Hello, Jesse?
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of question you got, Jesse?
I want to ask, when does Shovelbill season open?
Shovelbill season open?
Yeah.
You know what? That's a good question because I really don't know. The best thing I can tell you is get a
Wildlife.
a wildlife book and look in there and find out any local stores, Bass Pro Shop, or any of your bait and tackle stores should have that.
Okay.
All right, got anything else?
No, I don't guess.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Got another caller here. Hey, Bobby, how you doing tonight?
All right, buddy. Yes, I was going up towards Dale Hollow at the end of the month, and I've never been up that way before. We're going to put in over towards like the East Bank Marina over there. And I was just wanting to know, what would be some good fishing spots and what lures to use. I'm going to hang up and let you comment. Thank you.
All right, let's comment a little bit there, Bobby.
Well, you're going to be up at Eastport. That's pretty much up the very end part of the Obie River. And, of course, up the Obie River, that area right there is good for smallmouth. You're coming up next month. You're going to have similar to fish should be shallow. They should start moving up shallow up in their own spawning flats. I'd look at, depending on your water temperature, look at some crankbaits, maybe some swim bait bite. I think swim baits would be good for you to do right now up in that area.
Does that river have current?
They really don't. It will have some current up that far up to Eastport. That's at the very far end, as far as you can go on Del Hollow. So
fish will be shallow.
Yeah, they'll be shallow because we're fixing to make a major change with this water temperature right now, and that's going to change fishing a lot here in the next little bit. So
that's right.
I'd look at the swim baits, spinner baits, and maybe some possible crankbaits.
You can always email us at on Bobby's webpage or my webpage,
or just give me a call and I can fill you in on water temperature and what we're doing up there.
We've got another caller here. His name's Steve. Let's talk to Steve here. Yeah, Steve, what's your question?
Hey, I'm quite an avid, or not so avid, I'm a crappie fisherman, me and my wife are. And noticed when we first moved down to Tennessee about 5 years ago, we were catching 14, 16-inch crappie, and it seemed like every year they've been dropping off, and last year they picked up a little bit. And some of the old-timers are telling me it goes on a 6-year cycle or something, the size.
Is it fishing Kentucky Lake?
Tennessee, just Tennessee.
Well, I'll tell you something.
They do cycle.
They do cycles. Let me tell you about a book one time I read about crappie. It's called. Yeah, a crappie go through what they call a dominant brood, and what happens is when you have a perfect spring, what happens is they turn and eat on all their young ones, and what they do till that dominant brood dies out in crappie. The cycle just continuously recycles. You'll have a bunch that's 9 inches 1 year, 9 and 10, then the next year will be 10 and 11,
we're doing at the house
and then
right
11 and 12s, and you go through that cycle.
Your size limit will cycle.
It's called a dominant brood is what it's called.
Well, I didn't know if they just blowing smoke or what it was.
No,
that's nature's way.
It's nature's way.
From overpopulating.
And they kill off the dominant male.
Exactly, and what it is that they eat all their young instead of letting any of them survive until that dominant brood dies out. They still have those, so that's what's going on with you. That's why you keep seeing different cycles.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate the information, and I want to thank the old timers for give me that information also.
Okay. We got another caller on line 1. His name's William. William, how can we help you?
Yes, sir. I do a lot of catfishing, and I'm wondering with the sunshine in the next few days, if they would be out moving around or if they're still in deep water.
At my house, they're catching them deep. They're still on ledges. I mean, you fish main river ledges, and they will stay on them main river ledges till June. They'll come up on the rocks.
He said they're deep right now, coming up on main ledges is where they're coming. But now this warm weather, and if you get this warm rain going in the back of the creeks, a little secret here is that first big warm rain that comes in the back of these creeks and in these reservoirs, it will start a feeding frenzy, because what happens is all the shad go to the back of the creeks and the fish follow right behind them. And I don't care what kind of catfish, carp, bass, bluegill, it doesn't matter. They all go back there.
Yeah, that'll pretty well cover all species. They'll do that. They'll follow that warm water for their food. So catfish included. Dale Hall especially for that.
Yes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, we got Dave on line 2. Dave, what's the question?
Hey, I was just going to call and tell you doing a mighty fine job filling in for OU. And I was wondering if the crappie was doing anything out there on Priest.
On Percy Priest?
Yeah.
I've not heard anything about Percy Priest. Have you guys heard anything about the crappie on Percy Priest?
I've talked to some guys that have caught some on Priest. Now, to give you an accurate report, I can't really give you that. But, I mean, they've been catching some crappie on Priest. If it's like everywhere else, it's coming. It's getting there. I mean, there's been several good crappie caught. You might want to check with some of the folks down at Bass Pro Shops here in town, that come in there. They'll tell you a lot about Priest right now.
Well, some of the largemouth, if they're catching these big largemouth stringers I'm hearing about and seeing on the internet, them crappie are making a move.
They're
too.
moving.
They're making a move too. So I definitely do that. Now, I'll be at Bass Pro doing seminars all day Saturday, so I'll be glad to help ask any questions like that if you're around anywhere.
Well, hopefully I'll be out there on the water.
I don't blame you there.
Yeah, well, I sure would appreciate it.
It's no problem.
Have a good one.
All right. Jerry, how can we help you, Jerry?
Yeah, this question for Bobby on Dale Hollow. What about any red ear or shellcracker fishing there? And I'll hang up and listen to him. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
That's a real good question, Jerry. Dale Hollow has got some fantastic shell crackers, and that gets on in when these shell crackers go to spawn. It's usually in April.
Yeah.
It's in April, and they start moving out of this deep water. To give you a tip on really what I look for is I try to find the spawning areas for these shell crackers, these big shell crackers. I think we're going to have a good year on them because I've got 2 or 3 spots that I go to every year. I don't guide for them, but they're hard not to go and catch you a few big shell crackers. And I try to find a spawning area around some willows, find a mud bank up the Wolf River area. I've got a few areas up there that's got some red clay, and you find some willows, that red clay next to deep water. You know, I like to find the big shell crackers next to that deep water, and if you'll take a little red worm and a small hook, you'll find them shell crackers. You just got to play around with them, and it should be good up there for, call me, give me a call, go to my website, get my number, and call me, and I'll fill you in on what I'm hearing about the shell cracker bite up on Dale if you're interested.
One of the great things that Bobby's talking about is the grass came back in Dale Hollow Lake, and it didn't come back. When it came to Dale Hollow Lake, it's just made bluegill fishing and shells,
wonderful,
all the fishing a lot better because we have so much more oxygen in the water, and a lot of people don't realize that. And it hides the little fries in the spring. It puts in oxygen in the water. It just does so many good things for any lake. So that's a good question. We have another caller here on line 4, Shannon. Shannon, you still there?
Yes.
All right, what's your question, Shannon?
Yeah. What's the best place to fish at in Kentucky, which is Logan County?
Logan County?
Kentucky Lake Logan?
No, that's pretty close to Lake Malone area.
I was going to say, that's not around
Lake Malone?
I guess to Logan County. I go through Logan County, go to Lake Malone. It's a smaller lake, but it's a super good bluegill, crappie, a nice bass lake. That's between Logan County up toward Muhlenberg County. It's central located right there in that area. I fished it a lot. That's probably one of my closest ones. Or you can stay on 68 and 80 or going up to Kentucky Lake. You know, that's really close, you know.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, where's the best place to fish at? In Logan County.
Oh, in Logan County, I'm not real familiar with some of the places there. They've got a few little watersheds, but I'm not really sure what they're called or how to. You could check with somebody that's from that area. You know, just.
Couldn't you Google something?
You could probably find something off the internet and Google Logan County tourism. You know, people will let you know what they've got available.
I would probably call the local Chamber of Commerce of Logan County and get some information from them. Is what I would do.
Okay. Okay. Now, what's the number to the game warden? Game warden to what? Kentucky game warden. The Kentucky game warden.
What you'll need to do is basically what you'll need to do is just look up and get you a fishing guide. You know, a Kentucky fishing guide or Tennessee fishing guide, and that covers your water and it gives you all your phone numbers you need to cover.
Right in the back.
But in Bowling Green, what's in Bowling Green?
Okay. I'm going to put you on hold real quick here for a second. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Okay. What we're going to do now is talk about the tip of the week. I think we've lost him somehow or another there, but I told him on hold and he hung up, I guess.
Music City, located at 3729 Highway 109 North in Lebanon, Tennessee, home of your alternative power source.
Okay, we're back with Southern Woods and Water here, and give us a tip for the week. I'm going to let these gentlemen talk to you about it.
You go first.
One of the things me and Craig's talked about is water safety, folks. Just because we're getting into springtime, I think what we need to do is be aware of we've still got cold water conditions out there. Dress appropriately for this water temperature with a life jacket. Make sure you got that life jacket on. Make sure you got the proper clothes, because you fall out of a boat in 40-degree water.
That's right.
It's still winter conditions.
You know, I got a ladder on my boat because I fell out once and almost died. It scared me to death because I couldn't get back in the boat with all them clothes on. You can't pull. You're not as strong as you think you are when you're wet.
No.
So I got a ladder, but I carry a change of clothes. I've always got hand warmers in my boat. You know, you get cold, you got to get warm. Nothing anymore. You got them chemical hand warmers. Them's the best things ever invented. And I mean, just because it's 61 out and sunny, the water 3 foot down is 35. You won't last long.
You know, that is probably one of the most important tips that we could possibly give is make sure you stay in that boat, have the proper equipment, and take care of yourself while you're out on the boat.
I agree 100%.
That's right. So we're going to take a break here with Southern Woods and Water and come right back with us.
This segment is being brought to you by Covenant Heating and Cooling, providing excellence in comfort solutions.
This week's Recipe of the Week is being brought to you by Broker Headquarters Group. Let our team in Camo help you with all of your real estate needs.
Hi, everybody. Glad to have you back here at Southern Woods and Waters. And tonight we have a special guest giving the recipe. Her name's Hannah, and right over here she is.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight I brought my mom with me, and we are going to show you what we made. So Mom's going to explain it to us.
Well, thank you, Hannah. Thank you for having me. We're so excited about tonight's recipe. After hearing about all the fishing going on, I think everybody's going to need to make this barbecue recipe. This is so easy. It's wonderful for a busy day. It's wonderful if you're going out fishing for the day, and you just want to have something ready for you when you come back. And Hannah and I made this together, and all we did was put in a pork tenderloin. We salted it, then we put 1/3 cup of water, and then we cooked it for about 8 hours. And we waited till it fell apart, and then we just put barbecue sauce on it.
Yes, we did.
And it's turned out to be one of our favorite recipes, hasn't it?
It's delicious.
We can even get the boys to eat that, can't we?
Yes.
think Dad might could even make this one. Dad's not really good about the cooking, but we think he could do this, don't we? Well, so if they want to learn more about this, Hannah, where can they go to learn more about this?
They can email any ideas or recipes you have go to www.southernwoodsandwater.com and go to contact Hannah. And also, if you'd like to see the recipe that we made tonight, go to southernwoodsandwater.com and click recipes, and you'll find it.
Yeah, and so we encourage everybody to, if you have any ideas of what you would like to see Hannah make, please email Hannah and let her know what you'd like to see. And we'd like to try a shot at making it and see if it turns out as good as the recipe. How about that? Well, let's let all the guys eat it now.
Yeah, sounds good.
So back to Stephen.
Well, I tell you what, when I get done with this show, I sure am going to go over and get me some of that. I can tell you that.
Supper's made.
Yeah, it's already made. Getting back to what some of these guys was talking about, and it is very, very important to wear your life jackets. Everybody out there this spring, when it gets nice, gets in the 60s and 70s, and the water is still really, really cold. And when you got those clothes on, that water just absorbs into those clothes. And you may think you're a strong enough swimmer. You may think those things. But you know what? Be safe, not just for yourself, but for your family. Think about that. Think about your family and your children and all the people that you know. So wear a life jacket when you're out there, no matter when you're on the water.
You know, it's a good point, too. I mean, I spend 280 to 300 days a year, and I never leave my house in the winter that someone don't know where I'm at, where I'm going to put in, when I think I'm going to be home. And, I mean, they'll even call every 2 or 3 hours just to check, you know, because if you fall out of the boat and you got your cell phone in your pocket, then you're in trouble right there, you know. So if they call and I don't answer, they know something's up. I mean, just let people know. You can't be too safe.
That's one of the biggest tips that I give people is be sure you let somebody know what you're doing, you know, where you're going. Give them an idea when they're going to be home. And you know, that's a big part of safety on the water.
10 different people at my house, friends of mine, and my mom and Chastity, they constantly watch the weather and the wind and the radar, and if a storm pops up, my phone starts ringing, you know, and I can get in before it gets there, you know, and that's real helpful, you know. I mean, it's saved me a couple times from some bad boat rides, and you be on the wrong side of the lake and can't get back. I mean, just let people know and take care of each other.
Remember this, everybody, that when you're out there on the water, it is just a fish.
That's
Don't
right.
get me wrong. We love it.
That's right.
And we were passionate about it. But it's just a fish. You know, safety first for your family, okay? We want to say that to you because it's so important to know to be safe out there on the water. Make sure all your equipment's working properly. Spring's coming right now. You know, these inflatable life jackets, make sure that the canisters are changed and you have new canisters on them. Make sure all that's going on.
Batteries, make sure you got good batteries. They go dead over winter because people don't charge them, and they get out there and their cranking battery goes dead and they're stuck. You know,
that's
preventative stuff. Do preventative at home.
That's exactly right. And another thing is, add you some additive. And I can say this because being in the gas business, I own a store in Del Hollow One Stop in Salina. Add you some additive before you start out this spring into your gas tank to get that water and moisture out of that tank that you set there and let it set all winter long.
That's right.
And you go out there and there's water in it in a lot of cases, and people will, I hear it all the time, you know. My motor won't crank. My motor won't do this. My motor won't do that. So be safe. You don't want to get 10 miles up the lake and the wind's blowing hard this spring and your boat won't crank, and there you sit. Your cell phone won't work because you're surrounded by hills. So just remember those small little details that make such a great fishing trip, and remember those trips.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't realize in the summer you go out there and you got 600 boaters. You go out there in the winter and you've got 3 boats spread over 50 miles of lake. You could be out there for a little while and nobody finds you. You know, you're not going to run into anybody.
I've had days guiding that I didn't see any boats.
Not see a boat.
Back in December, January, I seen 0 boats. Being out on lake.
It's a whole different world in the winter and early spring than it is.
And just remember, you're making memories out there with your family. And do me a fine thing before you go out there. Just try to remember these things. That this spring, when it gets warm and it gets nice, Important thing I do at Bass Pro Shop in my seminars, I'm always ending with saying this to everybody. Mama, daddy, grandma, granddaddy, aunt, uncle, I don't care who you are, take a kid fishing this spring. When it's nice and warm, take these children fishing. They spend too much time in front of the Nintendo doing this right here.
Carpal tunnel.
You know, they,
7-year-old
they spend too much time doing that. So please, this spring, take these children out fishing, you know, because they are our future, you know, and we need to take time out to do those things. And I know these guys, they donate a lot of your times to doing that, to benefits and stuff. Am I not right about that, Bobby?
Yeah, I'm working with a bunch of young people that we're trying to get involved with the high schools, a lot of the school systems. And Hannah, she's really good. She's got some good ideas. This little girl has got some super good ideas. We want to try to get her involved with some things that I'm doing this year. I'm try to work with more schools, get the kids, get their parents interested. It's not so much if a kid wants to do it. If you don't get the parents involved, you're going to miss out on a whole lot, because the parents have got to get these kids out there to be able to do it. You know,
right.
That's one of my biggest goals this summer, is to work with some young people and, you know, get these school programs taking hold and helping these bass teams put together a team, work with Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, everybody, you know, get the kids involved. That's the future of our sport as fishermen. Not only that, that's the future of all of us as these kids.
Let's just take a real quick break here at Southern Woods and Waters, and we'll be right back with you.
This week's calendar of events is brought to you by Stand Up Jigs, where we stand up against the rest.
Hi, everybody. Glad to have you back with Southern Woods and Water. And what we got here is an email. It's from Andrew, and we'd like to announce that the ESBA, Emergency Service Bass Anglers, will have an open tournament at Priest on Thursday, March the 14th at Fate Sanders. It's from 7 to 3. It's consists of local fire department, police, EMS personnel. Our tournaments are Wednesdays to help with our odd schedules. Entry fees are $50 a boat, includes big fish, 90% payback, open tournament to anyone. Okay, so go out there and fish it. It's for a great cause. Okay, everybody? And see here, it says here you can get hold of any questions. They can contact Tart Dow at 615-533-7980. Let me repeat that number one more time. 615-533-7980. And just get hold of him and get hold of that number and call. You can, and he'll be glad to help you with any more information about the tournament. But come out to the tournament because it's for a good cause. You know, and that's what we're all about here. You know, we're all about having for the good cause. Bobby and them both talked about it, about the kids, taking the kids out and doing all this college stuff and high school stuff with these kids. Get them involved in the great outdoors in this beautiful world that we live in. I think that's just so important. Don't you, Bobby?
One thing that I've noticed this year, I've booked already several father and son. I've had a father and daughter trips this spring. So, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know if it's a trend or whether people's actually catching on with what they need to be doing. I'm getting a lot more, you know, family-oriented fishing trips. Of course, I get people that really never have been fishing. You know, in a guide business, you get a lot of that, don't you, Craig? I mean,
I'm a firm believer. If you keep a kid in a boat or in the woods and off the streets, they're going to grow up and be a good kid. They ain't going to have a chance to get in trouble. And you know, I just believe that. And I do what I can too. And yes, I do guide a lot of kids. I guide a lot of kids. And when you guide them, you know, it don't make no difference if you're catching bluegills this long. They just want to catch something, you know, just every cast. So, I mean, you know, it's all about the kids.
It's not always the fish. It's the experience.
No, take them out, take a boat ride, eat lunch, catch some fish, make them remember it. They remember things like that.
Building memories.
Building memories, exactly. So.
and that's what it's all about. And I would like to thank Hugh for asking me to do this show. I've had a great time doing this tonight. I've also had some great special guests here, and they're really close to my heart. They're good friends of mine, Bobby and Craig. They're great guys. If you have any information about guiding or on Kentucky Lake or on Del Holla, be glad to call these guys. You can go on any of the web pages referring to that lake and get their information there. And I just want to say thanks you guys for coming, and thanks for Hugh asking me to do the show.
Yeah, I'm still envious of Hugh and Joy. I wish them a wonderful trip. You know, I hope they're really having a good time, and it's really going to be really warm for them, so I'm happy for them.
Just dial into next week's Southern Woods and Waters. Thank you very much.